Ugh. That's how I test my mic now. I just sneeze into it. Apologies. Me. La, 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 la. Oh, it's all working. Let's make the microphone close to my. Hi. Let's make this close to my face. Bit gassy today. Sneezy and gassy. I apologize. I'm just monstrous. Hello. I'm BoredGamer. It's Tuesday, the 10th of March. We've got Stellar Fortuna starting on Thursday, the 12th, I think. I've actually thought it was next week for some reason, but maybe I've got all my dates and stuff wrong. I'm super tired. I've not been sleeping very well. I'm going to be a bit all over the place. Manic, I think's the term. Quite well, literally. So you'll have to deal with me. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets, sort of ask away. I'm going to be talking a lot about Alpha 4.7 and some of the additions there beyond what we expected. So we've got like 110 plus, I think it is, the breaker stations, a lot of which are going to be used for the Rock Cracker sandbox activity. And they're also going to be used for missions and places of interest as well, and like salvage stuff spawning near them. So yeah, they expand out the Nyx system with some much needed content. Got a Zin about this. Zin very much wants to sort of see Nyx expand out and get the planets of Nyx ASAP, and she actually has a feeling of being lost at sea. It's like too much of a liminal area for her, Nyx, because planets for some reason have made systems feel more cozy. I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Very much looking forward to Nyx expanding out, especially with the Genesis planet tech and all that sort of stuff. But that's beyond 4.7's scope. But yeah, we do get at least some expansion mix with the Rock Cracker stuff. And obviously we've got big inventory update that people have wanted for ages. It is a significantly better inventory. I suspect there will be more tweaks made to it, but there's like stack all and search, and there's 2 panels which you can sort of customize to be different setups. You have better access to nearby inventories as well. It's just significantly better looking and more functional inventory for Star Citizen as an MMO. It's got paper doll stuff as well for you setting up your tomb. So that's really cool. Got crafting as well. It is only a small implementation of crafting. So it's 1 fabricator, which you can buy, I believe, at refinery decks. I'm not sure if they'd expand that out to be other places as well in the short term. But then you can sort of bring these up on your freight elevator, chuck them on your ship, chuck them in your hangar, produce stuff from them using the blueprints you're given to start with. But you can also earn blueprints during missions. It's just a random chance at the moment, but there'll be specific missions for specific blueprints as well. But it's just a relatively small range of relatively small items to start with, including armor and FPS gear as well. But it's a big start, and there's mining update as well, which supports crafting and new qualities of materials, and the quality of material influences the craft of an item you're making, giving it better stats. What else? So, there's some big changes with armor, and basically, if you don't pass the armor threshold for the ship that you are shooting after you've ignore shields, yeah? Destroyed all the shields, or you've got some penetration of shields, whatever. Send you through the shields, or even if you're not, obviously in the case of ballistics or whatever, but you've got no shields, you hit the armor of a ship. Certain weapons, if they don't pass the individual individual projectile damage, the more rapid a weapon typically, the less individual alpha damage it's going to have per round. Alpha damage being the correct term, but individual projectile damage for ballistics that are Gatling, or it doesn't matter if it's ballistics or not, but laser or ballistic weapons that are Gatling or repeaters, typically low individual damage. They are unlikely to penetrate heavily armoured ships, especially larger armoured ships. And I say not penetrate, not even damage. So at the moment, you are below a certain threshold, you don't damage the armour, you basically do nothing. It just hits. You don't get hit markers, I don't think, at the moment either. You can shoot turrets and external components like PDCs as well, and they're not covered by armour. You can still do stuff. And when the armour's been damaged or destroyed, you can actually then penetrate it with the smaller arms fire as well. I really like it. On paper, it needs a huge amount of testing and tweaking. It makes capital ships and armored ships feel exactly how they're supposed to feel, and you can't use these smaller weapons of smaller ships or lots of little weapons to take on a more armored ship, and that, to me, feels correct, right? I don't want someone in a fighter just there to wreck everything, right? But it's like super good being a fighter. They should be able to beat all the other fighters around. The fighters still have a big role, but it also gives other ships a really important role with fighter bombers and torpedo bombers and all that sort of stuff as well. I really like the idea of it. It's going to need a lot of testing. Beyond 4.7 PTU and 4.7 live. Because I think it's probably a lot of what they want for Squadron as well. But they want capital ships to feel like capital ships. They want big armoured military ships to feel like that. And they don't want fighters to be able to just own them. Because they shouldn't be able to, right? That's my view on it. You might have a different view. So, radars have also been tweaked and changed as well. So, radars are going to start to affect more and more things. There are more choices of radar for ships now, or choices of radars for ships now. And the more powerful a radar, although there are going to be lots of ranges within this, the better they're going to be for the assisted targeting stuff as well. The better they track. I do not have much experience with the big radars and exactly the minutiae of how they work. Bear that in mind as well. What else do we have? So, lossless scaling, apparently, absolutely fantastic for Star Citizen. One of Zin's partner, he was telling me about it, and it's just like it's absolutely great. I've got lots of scaling. I have not messed around with it enough. People are talking about can we blend it with VR and stuff as well, so that we can have significantly higher frame rates. Apparently, people that have been using loss of scaling, even at very high resolutions, have been having a fantastic time. So, hello. Thank you very much for the kind words. Very much appreciated. Going to finish. So, the Clear the Air event will finish, I believe. Clearing the Air finishes on the 17th, I believe. And the RSI Cheaper Ships event that finishes when 4.7 goes live. Now, could CIG expand out Clearing the Air event? Could they extend it potentially until 4.7 launches? Yeah, maybe. But you're probably going to have 4.7 going live next week. Would be my expectation, end next week anyway. So we don't know. They could. Is Yorkshire tea as good as Spiff makes it to be? It doesn't matter. It's as much. It's so much of a British institution. You don't drink it because you like it. You drink it because you're obliged to by your countrymen. Hello to Germany. Hello to California. Yeah, the precision targeting in 4.7 as well is better. So it is, you can more easily hit things. And so if you want to try and hit turrets or PDCs or whatever. Yeah, so seeing a capital or even large sub-capital ship should be a moment, or how do I approach this? It is a puzzle to be solved with the right ships, loadout, and that sort of stuff. There shouldn't be a loadout for your ship that suits all situations. I mean, you could probably have a general loadout, which is pretty good in lots of situations, though, right? You want to be focused at taking out cavalry ships. It's going to be different if you're trying to take out fighters. Do you think we might see a 4.7 PTU today? So it's likely that we'll get the new Evocati build today, right? And if that build is super stable when they launch it, they could go to Wave 1 later. So potentially, there have been some stability issues and some other blockers for 4.7 going to wider PTU, but it is possible that it'll be today. It'll be today or tomorrow, most likely. That's assuming that they are able to get the new avocado build up today. You should always feel like Chris Roberts is in the room. That's what it's like to work at CIG, I've heard. How long do you think till we get bigger crafting machines for size 3 weapons, for example? So, I'm expecting every major patch to expand out what you can make in the current fabricator, but also start to expand out more types of fabricator. So, potentially by the end of the year, we should have potentially a range of fabricators and a good range of components and items that we can build from them. But they'll be doing it from patch to patch. I don't know a exact timeline on it. I'm not sure if CIG know. And we might see more things become blueprints, like sub-items and stuff from Wicklow. Much more likely, in my opinion, for them to try and push these things as blueprints, especially skins for stuff. Any news on the consolidated Outland Forge? Sounds really interesting. Yeah, so it's sort of like a mini Pioneer without the base buildings, the way I described the Forge. So no news on any of the core crafting ships and vehicles, the Forge or the Auxilia, stuff like that. But we know that CIG plan to get them in the game later this year, if possible, if sensible. It is going to be based on where crafting is and do they have their the ability to craft at that stage. You've got things like the Clipper in game, right? Clipper, as far as I'm aware, is not going to be crafting ready for 4.7, but it should be relatively soon. When will we see physicalized armor like we have with the helmets? I want to use armor racks. So I think that's actually pretty close. I think one of the reasons they physicalized the helmet is because they wanted to get armor racks and suit lockers all sort of physicalized. It's obviously something they want for Squadron, I believe. And it makes sense for them to have that in Star Citizen probably later this year. That would be my expectation. No news on the Pioneer. It's, you know, it was being worked on. But it's not appearing on the sort of roadmap or the monthly reports lately. I do think there is a level of work going into base building, so it's being worked on, probably just relatively slowly. Hi, Bon, the latest is in, you said you expect the CIG to water down the death of a spaceman mechanics. What, if any, changes are you expecting to change? So, I am expecting that potentially they'll keep the fact that you could die. But I do think that you'll be able to effectively, if you pay for it and you get the right insurance, be able to respawn pretty much infinitely. That would be my expectation. You can probably renew your DNA. I was going to say clone because it's all Eve. It's taken from Eve. Not exactly taken from Eve, but it's pretty similar, right? It's because EVE Online have a lot of good answers for a lot of this stuff already, because they've been a space game that's very successful, that's been released for a couple of decades. Over that. So yeah, my expectation is that they won't want harsh mechanics in an MMO where there's lots of people and lots of ships. They don't want to rage people out. They don't want lawsuits. They'll probably go as tough as EVE does again. I think there will be severe penalties for you repeatedly dying, but I do think you'll be able to effectively mitigate that by renewing, paying to renew your genetic code or something. That'd be my expectation. But we'll have to wait and see. That is very much an I reckon. We get an Argo semi truck with a trailer. So you're gonna have some farming. You're gonna see some more vehicles and stuff on the ground. How much cash would I need to pledge to CIG to get them to build a Battle Walker Reclaimer? So, are you talking you want a mech? You want a salvage mech? That are bigger than, significantly bigger than a ATLS? Is that what sort of what you're asking? I would like larger mechs. And I think some of the CIG team would like larger mechs as well. Because I'm on the worked on Mech Warrior. Mech Warrior Online? Mech Warrior Online. Do you believe the development of ships and gameplay are delivered equally, or does one outweigh the other? Yes, one outweighs the other, but they're all part of the development. Like, and it will change, right? Like, there are teams that are working on loads of different things and aspects of the game, from FPS to ships to vehicles to new locations, entirely new features or whatever, and creatures, tons of stuff, right? And are there differences in the way that they develop and send these things to us? Yeah. Which VR headset do you recommend for testing in Star Citizen? Depends on your price point. So I have a Pimax Super Crystal Super VR headset. I really like that. I think it's really cool. They are very expensive. You can use code BoredGamer, and my link's below my videos to get a discount on it though. So that's what I'm using at the moment. I will probably pick up a Steam frame because I've always been impressed with Valve stuff. And obviously there are significantly cheaper headsets which are still great that you can grab at the moment with like a Meta 3 or whatever. I really want my reclaimers to walk on the ground, or you're gonna have the mining tick soon. I appreciate all the kind words from people. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stream today because I'm going to go have a nap. What I'm going to do, I work from home. This is one of my jobs. I'm going to go have a nap in a bit. Get wrecked. What about shooting open doors with light fighters, i.e. shooting open the hangar on an Idris with a Gladiator board? So, that sort of stuff should be possible when Maelstrom exists in-game. I mean, they might do it temporarily where it just opens up, right? And I'm okay with that. I like that idea. But you're still going to have to get through the armor and the shields, right? Or use breaching charges or whatever. But hangar doors, in my opinion, should be a component and potentially protected by armor. Any idea on PDCs being purchased in-game? So you should be able to have... You eventually will be able to buy all of the different PDCs in-game that are available, because there's a couple that still aren't, right? People are having to effectively dupe them. I left a video... left a comment on your last video about this, but what if the hammerhead variant with the laser is a mining laser and it's a mining variant? So, people that don't know... there's been a couple of implications, however sort of vague, and maybe take it with a grain of salt. But sort of, I might be looking into things a little bit too deeply, or you know, making a load of stuff up. But CIG have basically implied that there's a new Aegis ship or new Hammerhead, potentially coming up soon. because Jared said when they were talking about a new Aegis ship coming soon, he went, "Oh, it's so sharp with a freaking laser beam on its head," and there was in the monthly report after they talked about the Hammerhead Gold Standard. I think the Gold Standard ship, they often have a new version of the ship or a variant or something they use the hull for. They said, oh, and a related ship is also in the works. So related ship could be a Hammerhead variant or a new hull based on the Hammerhead. When I say variant, I sort of mean either or both. But yeah, it could be anything. It could be a mining ship. It could be a beam weapon ship. It could be none of that. If you have a mining variant, then you've got to have a salvage variant, right? You give it a load of railguns, why not? Yeah, or beams. Silly beams. John Crew did say, was it 2025 or 2026? One of these years was supposed to be the year of beam weapons. Yeah, there's a load of stuff that we could do, right? But and loads of stuff that would be cool. And eventually you'll have a load of different loadouts and loads more weapons and star sets and loads more components. I used to spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing outfitting ships in Eve. I love working out efficiencies for components and the way they work and what loadouts worked. And I hope Star Citizen has an element of that and enough choice to make me go, oh, they're pretty cool. Do you think the new planets and Nyx will be a better release than those that are in Stanton? So they're built on the new Genesis tech. They should be significantly better with wider, more diverse biomes, just updated planet tech that draws from better data, and there should be less issues with them and less weird problems with them. So it should all just be about all of the planets of Stanton, and Pyro will be updated with that tech at some point as well. So, CIG are working on, hopefully it's going to be soon, and they're working on social tools for the game. This is a mixture of stuff. It is going to be org tools to a degree. It is going to be party tools, the ability to like block players and silence them, mute them, things like that. Just a big range of basic social tools you need for an MMO and to organize yourselves. And CIG have been... this needed to be done like a decade ago, but yeah, hopefully the system's going to be pretty good, even the first release for it, the first sort of major update for it, and I'm hoping that turns up real soon. What's my favourite armor set? I don't really know at the moment. Sort of, it changes. I like... I don't know at the moment. I will tell you when I... Zin loves her Starkitten gear. Anytime I offer her different armors, like, do we know yet if 4.7 will actually bring Lamp to more ships? Oh, I don't know. No, we don't know. This is like the light amplification stuff. Probably going to be in more, but I don't know. How good is the new inventory design? So significantly better and more functional than the current one. You've got search, got the ability to search, you've got various filters, you've got sort of 2 panels which you can customize and have as different things. You have access to local inventories, as nearby inventories, I should say, as well. Looks better, feels better. Yeah, it's significantly more snappy and responsive. I would like it to be a bit more finessed and design pretty wise, but it's a magnitude better than the current one. Yeah, with the lamp stuff, I haven't noticed any ships additionally have it, and this certainly hasn't been in the patch notes that I've read. Yeah, the armor stuff could change significantly, because lots of engineering updates, like I believe shields have got more health in general. They've tweaked life support systems, but they've also got the armor thresholds, which are significant and very interesting. The way that significantly changes the game, the way that fighters and large ships, capital ships, are so much more tanky because of it. Yeah, it's very interesting. And then even the way that you sort of lock onto stuff with auto gimbal is interesting with the radars affected by that. Now, with the upcoming changes to how radars work, is there any indication we'll be able to purchase radar upgrades from the shops? So, I would expect you to be able to buy a range of radars in shops in 4.7. Don't 100% know yet. Don't know if those changes will actually make 4.7 live. Yes, that would be my expectation. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. Genuinely appreciate it. With this patch making bombers more viable, yeah, torpedo bombers, fighter bombers, yeah. Do you think they will make any adjustments to the A1/A2 bombs by training a ship and killing the crew? So, gravity bombs are not as useful against ships. I'll say that. So, you also... So, let's say that you're using torpedoes and missiles or whatever, right? Bombs... They shouldn't be as effective, especially in space. But, yeah, missiles, torpedoes and stuff. I believe they will tweak the way that interacts with, if they haven't already, because I haven't actually tested it, the way that interacts with armor and the ship, right? Ballistics are really interesting at the moment because obviously they hit a shield, they have a partial absorption by the shield, then a partial pass through, and they hit armor. Armor will reduce the effectiveness of the shot, and they might chip the armor, or they might penetrate and hit and damage components. But typically ballistics are not going to be doing a huge amount of damage internally to a ship, especially if they have to pass through a shield first. Everything in the game that has multiple skins, can we get skins for components? So they look pretty as well. They haven't even talked about that. I like the idea though. Do you think we'll see a new ship or ground vehicle with Stealth Tuner? Maybe a Grey Cat UTV and the Aurora Mark II. So I think we'll see the Aurora Mark II with the launch of 4.7. That was my expectation. And I think we're going to see this Aegis Hammerhead variant, or new Aegis ship, whatever it is, probably a couple of weeks, 2 to 4 weeks in 4.7's launch. So there should be the patch bundle going out later today. Will you ever be able to buy ships with top tier parts from the pledge store? Oh, so I hope not. That feels. So you can certainly argue that selling ships in general is pay to win or over the top monetization, but selling them with like top tier components and then giving them lifetime insurance with that as well, that feels a step too far to me. So it is possible, because they might do it with military ships, right? They might go, well, this is the military version of a ship, and it just comes with this stuff. It's a little more palatable for me. So they certainly could, and they're within their rights too, but I would go with it. Are you all doing well? Bye. J Bird Samieti, thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mods. So the Kraken is planned to be released next year. It was delayed in its going to grey box, I believe, but they're working on it. Chips get delayed all the time with that. But yeah, it's still on course to being released next year, they said. Do you expect CIG to put ship parts like shields, engines, etc. in the pledge store? Again, I hope not. I'm fine with them potentially giving that stuff away as part of subscriber flow items and things. I prefer that stuff in game, but they could, right? Once the game releases, what avenues do they have for revenue? And no one is going to buy ships and earn in-game. That's not true. That's just blatantly not true. Because you can earn these ships in-game now, and Star Citizen makes more money each year on year. Right? So, what I would recommend is a lot of people just get a start pack and earn everything in-game, whatever. But for sure, and that is the majority of people what they're going to do. Some people will spend a little bit more money, and some people will spend ridiculous amounts of additional money on top of that. At least, something I'd go, well, it's a lot of money. I mean, I spent like $3,500 on the game, probably close to $4,000 now, and my spending on Star Citizen slowed down hugely because I'm like, well, I can earn it all in game, and I don't need to buy all these ships. Although I do quite like tweaking my fleets and stuff, but yes, it is a good question. How are CIG going to monetize the game after 1.0 release? So, and the answer is we don't 100% know. There are a huge amount of avenues, from selling in-game currency, which was the original plan, to still selling ships, to potentially selling, what else? They could sell concept ships still. They could sell special skins, or whatever. Voluntary subscriptions, which they already have. There's tons and tons of ways they could do it. And we are not 100% sure. If you saw a content creator on YouTube who basically took your name, modified it slightly, as well as your logo, I know exactly who you mean. Which you want to know is, I know it is. I don't really care that much. Look, as long as he's not saying he is me, and he's not, right? He messaged me ages ago when he wasn't making Star Citizen content, saying, "Oh, people are saying that I've stolen your stuff. Is it okay?" I went, "Well, not if you stole my stuff." And he was like, "I haven't. It's my own logo." I don't care that much. I think I know who you mean. You can always message me later. I'll be like, "Oh, that's not him." Not saying they're me. At some point, I might protect my IP a bit more strongly. And I'll say this as a revocable license. Let's say that to protect myself for the future. But at the moment, from what I was aware, it wasn't infringing on me too much. I don't care. People are creating Star Citizen news content. I don't mind, right? I think it's all good, probably. I might change my mind. I'm bipolar. Who knows what? Who knows how my mind's going to change? But yeah, message me some Yeti. Because I might be like, no, he's taking my exact logo. He's me. I'm not spending any more money until they figure out the stupid bugs. But once the game actually becomes stable, I'll start spending in. That's just me. Okay, yeah, no worries. Well, once the game becomes stable, so once 1.8 comes out, you can add it all in game if you want, or you can, I don't know, might be able to pledge to buy a load more ships if you want. CIG are going to need to fund the game beyond its 1.0 release to maintain it as an MMO, as a live service, 100%. Are you pro or against a money wipe with all the billions in the economy? So, I'm probably more pro money wipe. Yeah, I don't mind. I'm fine as well if CIG do targeted actions to remove vast quantities of wealth or partial wipes, but I'm more generally, let's start again, drafting's coming in. I think that's a good idea. They do need to make sure they've got the major dupes and exploits out of the way so people can't just immediately generate that money again, because you don't want to keep on wiping, right? But CIG have said, sort of short to mid-term, they're not planning on any more wipes at the moment. And that could change, but I think 4.7 PU, Persistent Universe, will drop this week or when. So I'm thinking that we could see Wave 1 PTU if the Edicard build, new one that holds later today and is stable, could see it today or tomorrow, Wave 1 PTU. Or a live build next week is my expectation. Yes, some people think that Star Citizen is going to move on to a full subscription model. That is possible. It's possible in the future, for sure. But I think that would cause a lot of conflict. Because obviously people have supported the game for lots of money and expected it to be buy to play. But as I said, we were talking about possibilities. It's a possibility that might change. I do need to have a way of generating money for the future after the game is released. And a lot of that will be, well, they'll just continue developing the game beyond 1.0 because there's a huge amount more gameplay systems and star systems and events and stuff that they can do and ships, right? And they can still generate money as long as they don't mind selling the ships. Yeah. So from my point of view, for Star Citizen's monetization beyond 1.0, anything is on the table still. However unpalatable it might be, it's on the table. Doesn't necessarily mean that they usually do it. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. Genuinely appreciate it. Yeah, so people wanting to support the channel, you do not have to do it financially. You're more than welcome to donate or use the join button under my videos or become a Patreon or buy like NordVPN or a Pimax headset if you want. Great. Genuinely, thank you. That goes a huge way to help the channel. But you can just comment on a video, like it, share it, subscribe, but whatever, subscribe to the channel, whatever is comfortable to you. It all genuinely helps. You do not need to chuck money at me, but I will genuinely appreciate when you do. Do you feel like the devs are sitting on some game advancing tech that is being held until Squadron 42 is released? So, yes, sitting on it's probably They are probably incubating it like an egg. Going with the sitting on it analogy. So there's definitely tech that's in the dev builds now. Not just the Squadron 42 one, but the Assistant Universe one. They're not using yet because they are waiting for it to mature more. It's unlikely that there's any tech that is mature and ready to be put into the game now, unless it doesn't have the full context of another feature they also want. Do you think CIG will start to give out blueprints to their monthly subscribers? Yes, I do. I think that's how they might do a lot of the monthly patch bundles, the monthly subscriber stuff. I think they'll go skins. Actually, these are now blueprints that you can apply to those items. So that's also interesting as well, because that will limit the supply in the bus, because you'll still need to craft them, and they might require some more expensive components. You right, Scotto, buddy? Do you think Squadron 42 will act as a stepping stone to Star Citizen, or will people who don't like MMOs still avoid it after finishing Squadron 42? Both, right? There's still going to be people. For a huge amount of people, Squadron 42, assuming that it is a good game, is going to prove that CIG can make a game and that Star Citizen isn't a scam, right? So that's for a lot of people. People that don't like MMOs and don't want to play multiplayer games like Star Citizen are still not going to want to play Star Citizen. They might try it. They might be more willing to try it after Squadron, even if it's just try it during a free fly event, right? There's going to be a huge amount of people brought into Star Citizen from Squadron 42. Genuinely huge amount. I'll look into. So, I would like some more steady sponsorships from hardware stuff, be that AMD or whatever, AMD, Intel, or whatever. I've got no loyalty to any company, although at the moment I'm running very AMD setup. I've got the 9070 XT, and I've got a. I'm not sure what my processor is. Is it a 7950? Yeah, it's a 7950X 3D. I think. That sounds right. Thank you very much for becoming a member, Scottish Plumber. Very much appreciated. Using the join button under my videos. That's genuinely appreciated, sir. So what are you trying to run in? What, 4, 6, or 8K? What res are you trying to run in, Sharkbite? Or are you doing AI models or something? I hate the term gold standard. The standard changes over time. Yeah, well, that's what gold standard means for them. The current standard. CIG like to put flourishes in all of their tech and terms or whatever, right? Do you know if a Reclaimer rework is still happening? There will almost certainly be a Reclaimer Gold Standard update. And it should be a reasonable tweak of the ship. That's going to be true of a lot of ships, though. What do you think? Who do you think you can talk into buying all of us? I'm not a fan of the 5090. I'm much more pro mid-range graphics card for people's needs. Well, a 9070 XT is perfect for my needs. At the moment, anyway. I mean, if I got a sponsorship and they gave me cards, I might change my opinion. You think we'll see the Aurora Mark II today, since it's the second week of the month in 4.70 Picardy? So they often, with new ships, they often hide them until the release of the patch now. I do think that the Aurora Mark II is probably in my opinion, going to be a 4.7 release thing, but I don't know. And there's obviously stuff for Tuna turning up as well. There's the patch bundle today. Sorry, the monthly bundle today. I just started playing, and I'm scared of trying to EVA. Do all armors have EVA jets? Yes. If you all flight suits allow you citation needed, unless there's one that doesn't for some reason. All flight suits should allow you to EVA, I believe, at the moment. That is true, isn't it? I know in the future that there's going to be varying EVAs and fuels much more readily in different flight suits and armors. When will the oxycolor be useful? So there will be there will be puzzles, there will be ways of using that to open fuse boxes and things like that as well. So at some point, don't know when. Do you think Squadron 42 story will have a team squad building story similar to Mass Effect? It will be much more. You'll interact with wingmen and people and might be able to help them on board the ship a little, but it's not going to be you running around with a team so much. It's much more going to be Wing Commander sort of style gameplay, primarily flying around in the ship, doing ship combat stuff, but a good amount of FPS as well. I'm doing well, thank you very much. I'm very tired. I'm going to go to going to stop streaming and go have a nap in a minute. You can fly around with fire extinguishers in space now. They do propel you. I mean, they propel you. As I've played this, I've played this since 2014. I'm all for a full wipe. Full wipe. And you want them to regenerate that cache again. You do it showing who's exploiting for 1 and 2. What said exploit is that it's profitable for... Seems like they would rather worry about people's work. So, CIG, do you have the ability to look at people's accounts? And there's a relatively extensive log from what I understand. So I'm not sure what actions they're going to take on people that have been exploiting versus people that have been duping versus people that have been gold selling. I do think, though, if you're duping, exploiting, and gold selling, potentially gold selling should be bannable, like permanently bannable. Exploiting, I just give potentially just a warning to. It depends how egregious some of this stuff is as well, right? Duping, don't really care, again, unless it's egregious. If they're duping egregiously, then, again, probably a warning, unless they were also selling this stuff or on gold selling, right? Well, you're here now. Sinanju. I'm considering jumping back in soon. Have not played since 3.18. So 4.7 is looking pretty cool. Lots of new features. Will hopefully it will not be an implosion patch and all break. It's looking pretty promising. Like, and there's a huge amount of stuff in it, like crafting inventory, rock cracker, mining update, the armor update. Lots of stuff, but yes, crafting. Not going to be the most extensive crafting in the world, but it is going to be a fabricator. It is going to be blueprints. It is going to be all of the crafting stuff, just on a small scale to start with. Yeah, we should see a range of flight suits and armor for EVAing and being better at EVA. So there, CIG, well, Star Citizen plans to not have hard classes, but your gear and your equipment and your loadouts and stuff will basically give you soft class. So you could be super agile and have this sort of stuff for EVA and ship breaching or doing ship salvage with all the right gear. And if you're wearing all of the correct suits, then you might get some additional bonuses or whatever. But that could be you wanting to be a combat medic. It could be a particular type of FPS combat gameplay, much more tanky, not being able to get knocked over, like literally just as a juggernaut, slow but sort of stomping towards stuff, ignoring some of the smaller arms fire. But yeah, that'll propagate to EVA and that sort of gameplay as well. And yes, suit lockers and the physicalization of armor and suits should be not too distant future sort of thing, because obviously they've done it with helmets now, and I think that's the start of that. I would expect it to be by the end of the year. The physicalization of suit lockers and armor and stuff. So with the Rock Cracker event, do you think this is potentially what they may use the Orion mining mission ship for? So strip mining will be different, but it's big scale strip mining of asteroid fields. Do I think that Orion will be able to crack open large rocks is what you're asking, though. I think it's going to be strip miner, so I think it's going to be norming up lots and lots and lots of rocks. But I also think they haven't fully worked out exactly what they want to do for strip mining, other than they want it to be the largest scale mining that a ship can do. Right? Honestly, I think it should limit which armors can EVA maneuver, and I believe they will. What else do we have? Bear with me one sec. I am going to dash off in a second. Let's see if there's any other questions. What do you think that the changes to the flight model will entail? Don't you think that the flight model should have been nailed down by now if Squadron 42 is supposedly releasing soon? So, yes, I do believe that flight model balance and combat stuff is different for Squadron than it is for the Persistent Universe. Just because the Persistent Universe is a multiplayer game with a load more ships and a load more weapons, right? So Squadron 42 very much a controlled experience, and they can affect the balance within that without affecting the balance within the Persistent Universe. They want that to be as close to each other as possible, but they are effectively different games. And it doesn't matter if something changes in the Persistent Universe after Squadron's released, because they don't need to update Squadron. They can still have that experience as it is, right? It's balanced. They have so much more control over the Squadron as well, that they can pre-bake a lot of stuff. So yes, it's still super important that they get everything nailed down and it work how they want it to work, but there's a lot of minutiae and a lot of other bits they need for the flight model in the Persistent Universe that is not required for Squadron. Yeah. It has to be balanced for PvP, it has to work on server meshing and network stuff. What do you think CIG will need to do to accommodate player-to-player sales? So, player-to-player trading, I was talking to some of the economy team last year about this, and it sounded like they wanted to put it in the game very soon, and that was soon last year. So I'm not sure what's happening with player-to-player trading. I don't think they... I think it's something they could put in game very easily, but they want to really make sure they've got it nailed down, because of the volatility, because stuff can be wiped, right? There's not going to be the ability to trade ships between player accounts yet, beyond gifting them, as far as I'm aware, until 1.0 goes live. I watched your new video today. You were talking about cybernetic limbs. So yes, Zin wants the ability to effectively be able to customize yourself with cyber limbs. I think more as aesthetic options, or them just to be aesthetic when you do get them, because you're supposed to have like a phantom clone syndrome or something, right? Where you, in fact, you were injured and it was traumatic when you were brought back. It's caused your not to be able to use your limb properly or whatever, so they amputate. I don't know. With a subscriber item that is essentially a deployable medbox, really like it, by the way. Do you think they should make deployable ammo and gun crates? Yes. They should make lots of different types of container like that for use in game, not just subscriber ones. Like you'll see medkits for in game that are pretty much the same as that, almost certainly, that are not subscriber items. But yes, I want them for all things to be put in. I like the idea of having boxes for specific purposes, and I liked that medical box. That was very cool, that medkit. Right. I'm going to dash off. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to go have a nap. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm still going to have a half an hour nap. And then it's going to be perfect. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. Thank you for the questions. Please check out my other videos on my channel. If you'd like to contact me, you can get me in my discord.gg/BoredGamer. Message me there, say hello, ask me to check out something, or you can get me at contact@boredgamer.co.uk. I'll get through to me if you want to email me. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. I will find, for those of you that are watching on Twitch, I'm going to send you over to... normally I'd send you to Salty Mike. He is my boy, but I'm going to send you over to Sigalian, who's also one of my good friends, and I don't think I've sent a raid his way for like 2 years or something. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see 4.7 go to Wave 1 PTU Dale tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed yourself.